That's a great question. When do you disclose your HIV status? As somebody who was infected with HIV in 1983, it was a very difficult thing to do. I didn't disclose my status to anybody, nor did I have any contact with anybody. I'm a heterosexual male, and to try to convince a woman to have sex with you, protection or otherwise, in the 80s was not an easy thing to do. Thankfully, we have the knowledge on exactly how HIV is transmitted and exactly how it's not, and one is empowered with that knowledge, as I became, you realize you have a lot more freedom than one realizes. The question is extremely prudent in this day and age, but I'll start with my experience is in disclosing to women back in the 80s. And the very first time I had to disclose, I realized that HIV is a part of me, and that if you wanted to know me and you want to be intimate with me, then you need to know all of me. Telling somebody, disclosing my status, was a great litmus test and told me a lot about that woman. If she freaked out, flipped out, attacked me, whatever, ran out of the room, that would tell me a lot about the person. Fortunately, I'm a rare example of not being met with that discrimination. Fortunately, I've met women who are extremely knowledgeable about the disease, who are extremely compassionate, and again, live their life by the knowledge, the facts, not the fear. The reason the HIV is so prudent and disclosure in 2014 is something called HIV criminalization. I have many peers and colleagues who are working to decriminalize HIV. The reason many people don't disclose their status is because of that shame and that stigma that still persists in 2014 about this disease. And so they know that if somehow they infect somebody, whether it's with malice or not, that they're going to spend their life potentially in prison. They just don't bother disclosing at all. That's not a good reason to not disclose, obviously, but many people are not disclosing. As my first wife said back in the 80s, when her friends told her that what are you doing marrying a man with AIDS? You're going to get it. He's got it. You're going to die of AIDS. He's going to die of AIDS. You know, good job. And she would tell them, as an educated woman, a heterosexual female, that she felt better coming home knowing exactly what she was dealing with in bed than her friends who were out there being put at risk by people not knowing their status or not even caring to know their status, be it due to the criminalization laws, the general pervasive stigma, or otherwise. So I feel personally that, as I said, it was my responsibility to disclose that. I disclosed that before I would even kiss a woman, because even though I quickly learned, even in the early 80s, probably around 85, that you could not transmit HIV via kissing in the normal sense, I still was very nervous. But in this day and age, regardless of then or now, it again told me a great deal about somebody, and I didn't want to have to deal with somebody's ignorance after the fact. You kissed me and you have AIDS, and therefore I'm going to get it and I'm going to sue you. That's just sheer ignorance. But unfortunately, it's not just the general population that is experiencing this ignorance and lack of knowledge about transmission. It's our medical professionals, it's our lawmakers who are criminalizing people who are HIV positive, say for, as in Texas, for spitting at a police officer, and he got 35 years. A man was brought up on bioterrorism charges for biting his neighbor, being HIV positive. Bioterrorism, come on, really? So my view in HIV, you should always disclose any sexually transmitted infection that you have, and HIV just happens to be one of them. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, if you're going to criminalize HIV, then you should also criminalize hepatitis C and hepatitis B and other viruses or illnesses that can kill you as well, or severely limit the quality of your life. I choose the higher road always, and I encourage everybody to do that. And on the good note, if for some reason you're just an average Joe, and you don't know your partner's history from Adam, and you both wear protection, you do not have to disclose your status. Again, there's always a risk there. It's not safe sex, it's safer sex. So that's why I feel, just in general, that anybody, find it within yourself. Don't even date until you're ready to deal with that. Unfortunately, when you are ready to deal with disclosing, then be prepared for a great deal of ignorance, potentially. And then also, do not limit your love based on your serostatus. Thank you.